Trump has just turned a paid account into political ammunition. The clash that had already been growing between the White House and the Vatican has taken another jolt. After Donald Trump shared a post that brought up old posts by Robert Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, and reacted with the phrase, "not good." From that point on, the battle lines became clear on this April 20th, 2026. The President of the United States wanted to show that the new Pope did not emerge as a neutral voice, but as someone who had already left a public trail of criticism toward Trump's agenda, immigration policy, and the rhetoric of J.G. Vance. What seemed buried resurfaced, and it came back hard. What was revealed in practice were not private messages or behind-the-scenes rumors. They were reposts and public statements by then Cardinal Prevost on X, formerly Twitter. Reuters reported that in February 2025, he reposted an article with the headline that J.G. Vance was wrong to say that Christian love should follow an order of priority. Then, in April 2025, he also reposted a message critical of Trump's meeting with Nayib Bukele, calling for sensitivity to the suffering of migrants. This is decisive because it shows that the current clash did not come out of nowhere. It was already brewing even before the white smoke announced the new pope. At the center of this crisis is an explosive combination. On one side, Trump, who decided to treat the pope as an open political adversary. On the other side, Leo XIV, the first pope born in the United States, with a digital history connected to sensitive topics for the American conservative base. In the middle of this crossfire are J.D. Vance, directly affected by one of the old posts, and also Tom Homan, a leading figure in border policy who began to respond to the Vatican's criticism with harsh and direct language. The result is a rare conflict. A president of the United States publicly facing off against an American pope over immigration, war, and moral authority. Reuters reported that on April 13, Trump attacked Leo, calling the pope weak on crime and terrible in foreign policy. The immediate reason was the escalation of the pontiff's criticism of the war involving the United States, Israel, and Iran, in addition to his already well-known criticism of American immigration policy. The next day, the Pope responded by saying that he was not afraid of the Trump administration and that he would continue to speak out against the horrors of war. The dispute then moved from the realm of insinuations to an open international confrontation, and a highly symbolic one. How did Trump escalate this tension? He didn't just stick to directly attacking the Pope. According to Crux, the president shared a link from an account on X that claimed to have exposed the deleted tweets of Leo XIV. The post gathered old posts from the then cardinal about immigration, social justice, climate, and criticism of anti-immigration rhetoric. The gesture had a powerful political effect. It shifted the focus. It was no longer just the Pope criticizing Trump. It became Trump telling the conservative public that the Pope had long been acting politically on issues important to the American right. It was a harsh, calculated, and noisy reversal. This point carries even more weight because the very existence of this history had already been reported by traditional media outlets before the verbal war exploded. Reuters showed that Prevost had reposted content critical of Vance and of Trump's handling of immigration. The Associated Press also reported the strong clash between the Vatican and the American government when the Church condemned mass deportations and countered the idea that human dignity can be treated as an administrative detail. For Trump and his base, this old material now serves as proof that Leo XIV didn't start talking about politics only after becoming Pope. He was already speaking about it before. And that's exactly what the president wanted to expose. Where this confrontation becomes more sensitive is on the issue of borders. The main document insists on this point, and the public record shows why this became one of the most incendiary issues. The Associated Press reported that Tom Roman responded by saying that the Vatican is a state surrounded by walls and that the Church shouldn't lecture the United States about borders. The same coverage reminds us that the Vatican has toughened sanctions against illegal entry, providing for up to 4 years in prison and a fine of up to 25,000 euros in certain cases of violation involving fraud, threats, or security breaches. Politically, this contrast became a bombshell. For the Trumpist wing, the Pope criticizes national walls while governing a walled and protected territory. Another detail that fueled suspicion of politicization was Leo XIV's meeting with David Axelrod. On April 9, 2026, CBS Chicago reported that the Pope received the veteran Democratic strategist and former advisor to Barack Obama. And the Washington Post reported that Trump cited this meeting when attacking Leo XIV and accusing him of pleasing the radical left. Here's why this information carries so much weight. At a time when the Vatican was trying to maintain that the Pope speaks from the gospel and for peace, the image of a meeting with a high-profile political operative opened the door for Trump's counterattack. There's still a decisive element in this story. The old account was deleted, but the archive didn't disappear. Vatican News reported in May 2025 that Leo XIV decided to maintain an active presence only through the official papal accounts on X and Instagram. America Magazine directly reported that he deleted the personal account he started back when he was Father Robert Prevost, while the Vatican launched the official profiles under the Pontifex brand. In other words, the digital environment has changed, but the political history associated with the old profile has been preserved in screenshots, archives, and reposts. In the internet age, deleting doesn't mean disappearing, and Trump understood that quickly. In the end, what Trump tried to do was expose a contradiction that speaks directly to the conservative voter, a pope who calls for peace, condemns war, and criticizes deportations, but who also has an online history of public commentary on deeply political issues.